Catalina Gillies, and welcome to this week's edition of Northwest Newsweek. Doctor shortages are an issue among communities across the Northwest, but this week marks the beginning of a difficult time in Manitowoc, as the town's health center now only has one visiting physician to tend to the medical needs of town 2,000 residents. Adam Riley has the story.
Obviously, it's a very unfortunate thing, and we are doing everything we can to help the hospital.
The Township of Manitowoc needs a doctor following the departure of the community's last family physician earlier this month. Currently, the town of 2,000 has a locum or visiting doctor to handle appointments, but Mayor John McEachern says that will only work as a temporary or supplementary measure.
Locums are not the ideal situation because they don't know each patient's history, and I mean, it's great to have locums and we're going to need them forever, but it would be more advantageous to everybody in the town if we had permanent doctors here.
This isn't the first time Santé Manitowoc Health has faced staffing issues. In August, the organization posted a media release stating it was experiencing a significant crisis and struggling to maintain adequate professional workers, including registered nurses. McEachern says the township is currently working with SMH to assist in recruitment efforts in an attempt to get a full roster of doctors for the community.
We are entitled to 3 doctors, and the ideal position would be to have at least 2 full-time and then fill the 3rd position with locums if we had to.
McEachern says Manitowoc has faced physician recruitment issues for the better part of a decade now. TBT News requested an on-camera interview with officials from Santé Manitowoc Health for comment on the situation, but that request was declined. Adam Riley, TBT News.
Some good news for the community of Martin Falls following a harrowing 3 days. The remote First Nation has running water once again after its water treatment plant was shut down. The plant was impacted by a technical failure of their systems, affecting every household in the community of 388 people, along with the nursing station, police headquarters, and other services. According to Chief Bruce Ashney-Penescum, he was almost ready to call for an evacuation, but that won't be necessary now, and he's relieved with the actions taken to fix this issue.
Yesterday, we got a technical team up to Martin Falls, assessing the current plant and assessing the situation. And fortunately, that the system is back online now, and we're building up water in our reservoirs, and we got some initial flow into residences.
Going forward, Ashney-Penescum still wants to see increased commitment from the federal government and improved infrastructure in his community. Meanwhile, a new water treatment plant has been built in Shoal Lake 40, and it's now in operation. The First Nation, which sits along the Manitoba-Ontario border, has been under a boil water advisory since 1997. That was one of the longest in the country. Until 2019, Shoal Lake 40 had no direct road access to the rest of Canada. The completion of Freedom Road made construction of the treatment plant possible. Election day is fast approaching, and in order to help voters decide where to place their support, TBT News hosted a pair of 1-hour debates this past week for the 2 Thunder Bay area ridings. The televised event Issues and Candidates and Answers, the candidates debate for Thunder Bay Rainy River, aired on Thursday night. It featured the 3 of those vying for the seat in the House of Commons. Green Party candidate Tracy McKinnon, Liberal incumbent Marcus Pulowski, and Yuxim Wan of the NDP faced off on a number of issues, including the boil water advisories that remain on many First Nations.
When it's a priority, you've gone through all the technicalities and made it happen. You bought a pipeline. You made that happen. But boil water advisories can't. And this is not one I am willing to stay silent on and wait.
Having been in the Liberal Party for 2 years and having criticized where I think appropriate, my own party over things, I can say with absolute conviction the problem with long-term water advisories is not one of willpower, which is what the NDP says. Well, you guys don't really want to do it. This isn't a priority for you. Absolutely, it's a priority for us.
Meanwhile, on Wednesday night, our station hosted a similar debate for the candidates in Thunder Bay Superior North. TBT News lead anchor Ryan Benazzo moderated the debate between Liberal incumbent Patty Haidu, NDP candidate Chantal Bryson, Conservative Joshua Taylor, and Green Party candidate Amanda Montague. The four federal hopefuls squared off on a number of issues, including this fiery exchange over vaccine mandates.
I think people deserve safe workplaces. The NDP candidate is, siding with anti-vaxxers, siding with people that are
nonsense, Patty, suggesting I side with anti-vaxxers.
That are
I didn't
actually making
say that,
it difficult
and
for our
it's not
healthcare workers
true.
to do their jobs.
And you're launching
Yesterday
personal attacks because that's what the Liberal Party
Yesterday
does,
we
and
saw-
that's what your leader does, and you should be ashamed of yourself for that.
The two debates can both be viewed on tbnewswatch.com. Canadians will go to the polls on Monday to elect the 44th Parliament following last month's snap election call by Liberal leader Justin Trudeau. Adam Riley has this recap of the contenders in all three Northwestern Ontario ridings.
Starting in the Kenora riding, Conservative incumbent Eric Malillo is facing off against four newcomers, including Liberal David Bruno, New Democrat Janine Seymour, the Greens' Remy Rowe, and People's Party candidate Craig Martin. Moving to the southeast in Thunder Bay Rainy River, Liberal incumbent Marcus Pulowski is looking to protect his seat from returning NDP challenger Yuksem Wan, Conservative Adelina Pecchia, the Green Party's Tracy McKinnon, and the PPC's Alan Abbott. And swinging into Thunder Bay Superior North, Liberal incumbent Patty Haidu is facing a five-pronged challenge from New Democrat Chantal Bryson, Conservative Joshua Taylor, Green Party candidate Amanda Montague, Rick Daines of the People's Party of Canada, and returning Libertarian candidate Alex Vauden. TBT News will have coverage of the 2021 federal election on Monday evening and a complete recap of the results on Tuesday. Adam Riley, TBT News.
This week, we bring you our final candidate profile as part of our ongoing local coverage of the 2021 federal election. This time, we head back to the Kenora riding to meet the candidate for the People's Party of Canada. Despite a late start, Kenora acupuncturist turned PPC candidate Craig Martin has hit the campaign trail with a plan to put the country back on the right path. He says he was spurred to run after watching businesses in his community close and seeing healthy people choose CERB over working as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. If elected, he plans to eliminate wasteful spending and get the government back into the hands of the people.
Our government dropped the ball so bad, they've devastated our economy, they've created divisions in all of the people of Canada, right down to family members, friends, and I thought it was time to run and try and clear up our rights, our freedoms, and try and get our small businesses back up and running and get rid of the mountains of debt and overspending that's occurring down there.
Martin says he supports all the recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and wants to see housing come back to the hands of the people and not be subsidized by the government. Federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh made his third visit to the Northwest in the past 6 weeks, with a stop at the Niskandiga First Nation on Monday and in Sioux Lookout and Thunder Bay the day before.
But can we vote for different? Yeah. Can we vote for New Democrats? Yeah. Can we make this city orange and then take that across the country? Yeah. And form the first ever New Democrat government and lift people up? Yeah. Well, let's get it done, my friends. Let's get it done.
That was Singh speaking to over 200 NDP supporters who showed up to the Thunder Bay event. The two local candidates, Yuksem Wong and Chantal Bryson, were in attendance and welcomed the support from their party leader. Singh spoke about taking on the billionaires, prompted the crowd to chant NDP, and he even recorded a TikTok for his almost 800,000 followers on the app. Singh also shared why he keeps coming back to this region.
We want to let folks know that we care deeply about the North. We care about Thunder Bay. We've got incredible candidates here. We got Yuksem, we got Chantal, and they've shown what New Democrats do. We fight for people. We fight for you. And the things that people in the North care about, they care about health care. They want to see medication covered. I spoke to folks here that are worried about how much their medication is costing them, how much housing is costing. And we've got solutions to these.
As of Friday afternoon, no other party leaders had made a campaign stop in the Northwest. When we come back, an old but new First Nation in the Greenstone area adopts more sovereignty over its lands. It's been just over a year since Lake Nipigon First Nation began the installation of power lines in the community. This week, another major milestone, the adoption of a land code that will give the band more control over its land and its future. Adam Riley was at the signing and files this report.
Going forward, should Chief and Council of Animbiku, Zagagan, and Anishinaabeg wish to do anything with the land that has been designated for the community, they will need only to hold a vote with band members and conduct an environmental assessment. This comes following the signing of a land code between the community and the federal government Monday.
It's just another self-governance step, and it allows us to move a lot quicker. You know, we've haven't had any community for 150 years, and it just gives us more control over our lands.
Representing Indigenous Services Canada was Deputy Minister Christine Fox. She says seeing the community and what it has and where it wants to go gives some perspective to the work that needs to be done to grow the community.
Harvey was telling us about the mining opportunities and what that means. Like, it just feels like this is a really important point in time for this community, and so to be here with you today absolutely means the world to me and to the team, and to get to know you and see what we can do.
But while spirits were high, some members, including Elder Joseph Oswald, wanted to remind the visiting dignitaries about concerns over water quality.
People up north, they always have water problems. They gotta boil their water. Like, they have over $1 million water plant, and they gotta boil their water yet. And I don't want to get into the situation with our members, band members. Like, we want good water if we can.
The story of AZA started years ago, but only really began to take shape within the last 13 years. Last year, a milestone for the community was reached with the installation of power lines to allow the community to properly develop.
I remember coming down the one hill and seeing the reserve, and the feeling that I got, like, oh my God, this is finally going to be ours. I still get that feeling. And when I first seen the hydro poles for the first time, and the clearing of the land, for it to all becoming factual and true, it's It's unbelievable.
Nelson says other projects on the go include several houses, a water treatment plant, and an elders lodge, which will sit just off the shore of Partridge Lake. Adam Riley, TBT News.
The first of 2 open houses regarding the proposed northern road link to the Ring of Fire was held in Thunder Bay Tuesday. The project would provide road access between the Martin Falls and Webequie First Nations and the remote mining deposit. Kurt Black has the details.
The Northern Road Link is a proposal by Martin Falls and Webequie First Nations to build a 155-kilometer all-season road that will link both communities' individual access roads to each other, along with the Ring of Fire mining deposit. Tuesday saw the first of 2 open houses aimed at Indigenous members and the general public to ensure that all interested parties are up to date with the latest project information and to have any questions answered. Project spokesperson Stephanie Ash says the open houses are important to guarantee that the proposal continues to be a collaboration with all communities involved.
There are 2 First Nations who are leading this terms of reference process, and they've made it very clear that making sure that they're collaborating with their neighboring First Nations, working together, receiving input is really important to them, and that things will be done respecting other First Nation communities and with a really community-led process.
The Northern Road Link project is currently in its early stages, as the terms of reference on the environmental assessment was issued earlier this year by the 2 proponent First Nations. Project co-lead Kasim Sadiq says once the review process is complete, a final draft on the environmental assessment can be expected by the middle of next year.
And we expect that through the review process, once we're done working with Indigenous communities and public stakeholders, we would be able to submit a final tour in spring to summer 2022.
Ash added that it is very important to keep this proposal on schedule to ensure that Indigenous communities in the McFalls Lake area gain access to roadways that will prove as a social and economic asset in the future.
The communities, of course, see this as a vital lifeline. It's a social economic lifeline for their communities and for people who are living without access in the remote north today.
The second open house will be held down at the Delta Waterfront Hotel on Wednesday afternoon. Kurt Black, TBT News.
Thunder Bay OPP have now identified a transport driver and his passengers as the 2 victims in a horrific crash at Sistinen's Corner last weekend. And another driver who helped rescue some of the other victims is telling his story. The 2-vehicle collision occurred just after 10 o'clock Saturday night and shut down the Trans-Canada Highway for around 14 hours. Surveillance video, which we've chosen not to broadcast, showed a transport on Highway 102 traveling at a high rate of speed through the stop sign and intersection and crashing into the side of a travel trailer pulled by a pickup along Highway 1117. Another driver, Dennis Breslin, says the collision saw it occur in his rearview mirror and immediately came to help.
I just opened the truck and ran to the vehicle where I heard crying and help, and I went straight to the truck, and it was so hard to walk across because there was debris everywhere. It was like a bomb that went off. I quickly looked into the vehicle and seen 2 little kids in the back. I grabbed the little boy, I took him out, and the little girl was there as well, but her leg was pinned.
The 2 children and 2 adults in the pickup were all transported by EMS to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, including the 6-year-old girl who was flown to a health center in London. The driver of the transport, who died in hospital after the crash, has been identified as 22-year-old Parmohit Chaudhry from Acton, Ontario. The passenger in the rig who died at the scene was 38-year-old Ahmed Omar from Calgary. The OPP's traffic collision unit continues to investigate the cause. For 4 consecutive days, there were no new COVID-19 cases being reported by the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. The number of active cases has fallen to 10. But it's a different story over in the Northwestern Health Unit, where 3 new cases reported Friday in the Rainy River District. At least 1 new case was reported every day this week. There are now a total of 11 active cases across the NWHU catchment area. Coming up after the break, low water levels and improvements to Ontario's electrical grid cause Atikokan's biomass facility to pull some overtime. Electricity, it's pretty much the one thing we need to have for a modern economy, transportation, and our creature comforts. In the Northwest, there are several dams that provide power to the provincial grid. However, the intense heat of the summer has left some dams high and dry. But Atikokan's biomass generating station was able to help keep the lights on in Ontario for the past few weeks. Adam Radley has details.
In a normal year, Ontario Power Generation's Atikokan biomass station will experience anywhere from 120 to 140 startups, but those usually only last from a couple of hours to at most a day. However, for 3 weeks from late August to early September, the station pumped out power to the province 24/7. Part of the reason comes as a result of low water levels on area lakes and rivers, preventing hydroelectric dams from producing power. However, Chief Operating Officer Mark Niemi says that isn't the only reason that caused the Atikokan plant, which is capable of supplying 200,000 homes with power by itself, to pull some serious overtime.
The requirement for this need is some transmission system work that's happening east of Thunder Bay, part of the east-west grid upgrade. An endeavor that will increase the reliability to the electrical users in northwestern Ontario.
Atikokan is a former coal-fired plant that, like Thunder Bay, was refurbished into a biomass plant. However, unlike Thunder Bay, which was demolished earlier this month, there was still time left in its contract that is set to expire in 2024. Mayor Dennis Brown is hoping that contract will be extended, considering the impact the facility has on the local economy, as some of the wood pellets used to produce power at the facility are manufactured at a plant in his community.
That's great for the area, and we certainly hope it keeps operating that way, because it's important. And now with this climate change and so on, the biomass plant becomes more important. And it is crucial for Atikokan because of the taxes that they provide. They're right in our town.
The Atikokan generating station is now in a 7-week shutdown for maintenance, which was scheduled prior to the 3-week run. Niemi says it took several agencies a combined effort to make that run work, and there is potential for the need to have the plant run for an extended period again in late 2021 or early 2022. Adam Riley, TBT News.
A program through Lakehead University that encourages students in elementary school to seek post-secondary education has partnered with a new school board in the region, all while hitting a milestone year. Reps from LU and the Keewaydin-Patricia District School Board signed a memorandum of understanding Thursday to add the board to the university's achievement program. By participating in certain courses, students starting in grade 4 are able to earn financial credits which over time will accumulate in value. They would then cover many costs associated with their first year at Lakehead. President Moira McPherson says 2021 marks 10 years since the inception of the Achievement Program, and the addition of KPDSB brings the number of school boards in the program to 5.
The program has been hugely successful. We have currently 198 active participants in the program, and we've had the first 7 students that have made it all the way through into finishing their grade 12 and graduating, and we have our first 3 students on campus this year.
We know that some of the students who have graduated from this program have talked about how it is life-changing and how they explored possibilities that they had never considered without this program. So we are so excited and so proud that this program gets to be expanded. Can the teachers unmute your microphone, and can we have the kids tell us if they're excited? Wonderful. And we look forward.
And that wraps up this week's edition of Northwest Newsweek. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.